So thank you and good afternoon, everybody. Today, the G20 finance minister and central bank governors met for the third time this year, and it is the first time that we could meet in person. At least most of us were here. And we agreed on a number of important commitments which are detailed in the official communique, which is being released right now. And before addressing your questions, I'll try to give you an overview of today's discussion. Then the governor will share his remarks right after mine. First point, the economic outlook. Since the previous meeting in April, the outlook has improved, especially in some advanced countries. And this is also related to the progress in vaccination and the policy support. The recovery, however, remains uneven. Some countries are lagging behind. There are downside risks related to different paces of vaccination and also to the possible spread of new variants. So against this background, we reiterated our commitment to use all available tools for as long as required to sustain the recovery, avoiding any premature withdrawal of support measures. Second, the G20 recognizes COVID-19 immunization as a global public good and reiterates its support for all collaborative efforts, especially the so-called ACTA mechanism, in order to address the current health crisis, urging both the public and the private sector to address the remaining gaps. Ministers and governors recognized the need to accelerate the delivery of vaccines, diagnostic and therapeutics to rapidly react to new variants and to provide countries support in delivering and distributing vaccines. We took note of an important initiative that is the formation of a joint task force by the World Bank, the IMF, WHO, WTO, to help track, coordinate, and advance the delivery of COVID-19 health tools. We will keep working on this issue in the coming months and reach, I guess, additional decisions in October in the next meeting. Again, on health-related issues, yesterday we welcomed the report of the G20 high-level independent panel on financing global commons for pandemic preparedness and response and discussed its recommendations. As a follow-up, the G20 will continue to work together with international financial institutions and relevant partners, in particular the WHO, to develop proposals for strengthening future pandemic preparedness and response. We are setting up a group of experts from finance ministries and health ministries together with international economic institutions, the WHO, to prepare concrete proposals to be presented in October at a joint finance and health ministry meeting to take place at the end of October, just before the head of government meeting. Fourth, on international taxation, we achieved a very important agreement. Many colleagues define it a historic agreement on a more stable and fairer international tax architecture. We endorsed the key components of the two pillars on the allocation of taxing rights on profits of multinational enterprises and the global minimum effective corporate taxes. The G20 agreement is an important achievement that will contribute to stabilize the international tax system in the coming years. It will grant greater tax certainty and stop the race to the bottom with respect to corporate tax rates. Additional work is necessary between here and October to fully finalize the agreement. There are a number of technical details to be fully finalized, and we plan to do so at the end of October. Again, finance ministers, central bank governors also discussed how to best continue supporting vulnerable countries through a comprehensive support package. The DSSI has achieved significant results. 45 countries requested its benefits. Now that the DSSI nears its end, the common framework has been activated to address debt vulnerabilities. As you know, in the previous meeting, there was a decision about a new allocation of special drawing rights, $650 billion. We expect this allocation to be effective in late August, and members agreed to work with the IMF to narrow down the design and implementation details of a few options to channel SDRs from countries who do not need them to countries in need. Today, ministers and governors also agreed to launch an independent review of multilateral development banks' capital adequacy frameworks. The G20 ministerial meeting was also an opportunity to discuss a range of challenges that date from before the pandemic and go beyond the short term. For instance, we endorsed the G20 menu of policy options on digital transformation and productivity recovery. And we also worked on infrastructure investment, and we endorsed the G20 policy agenda on infrastructure maintenance. Finally, we agreed on the need to foster a just transition toward low-carbon economies and societies through the adoption of well-coordinated, comprehensive strategies. On the climate-related policy, yesterday we hosted here the G20 high-level tax symposium on tax policies and climate change, which offered an important opportunity to discuss what the international tax architecture can do to mitigate climate change. We believe that tax policy could have a critical role in achieving environmental goals. Tomorrow we will reconvene here for an international climate conference to further explore climate-related issues. I will now give the floor to Governor Visco.